Hello. Um, Really, all I was gonna do today, and it'll probably be the last one I do for a little while until I get some more study done. Pardon me. Is actually tell people about truth seeking and how to do it, because we are a society of people that have taken everybody's word for everything, and we were taught by the enemy everything we know, but really know very little. I mean, you can go out in the streets, and most people don't know who George Washington was, which of course was the first president of the United States. I mean, and ask people the most atrocious things, and then, well, if they're consenting adults, then sure, it's okay. I mean, does it make sense? In my belief, it doesn't make sense in a way. Um, but I guess I'm getting kind of old. I mean, I'm 39 years old now. But and I was brought up in a generation of men that were raised by women, but I was raised by my dad. So maybe my thought process is a little different than most people my age. I don't know. But truth seeking is important because you got to know the truth. In every aspect of everything, there is an absolute truth. I mean, no matter how much they've covered up, there is an absolute truth on everything. There is a root. And figuring that out is important. I mean, I have had to dig through so much crap to figure out the way I believe these days. And I still have sometimes, there's still things I don't know. There's still things, I mean, you can study every day for the rest of your life. And I'm not sure if you can figure out everything. I mean, the fact that, yes, everything is light and vibration. I mean, Tesla knew that 100 years ago. And that you can destroy buildings with vibration. You can cut rock with vibration. I mean, they're starting to come out with technologies from this stuff that Tesla had the blueprints for around 100 years ago, but they suppressed everything for so long. You can lift megalithic rocks with foundations with vibration. Well, this is absolutely true. I mean, frequency and hertz and vibration is everything. And everything that in the world is made out of light. Every micro, this is scientifically proven that every micro atom is made out of micro molecules of light, and how densely they're compacted depends on how solid an object appears. I mean, from the air we breathe to titanium, but it's all made out of molecules of light. And what we've been taught is so skewed. I mean, you can go out on any plane, any, I mean, it's all a flat plane, but you go out in any area and look at it well enough, and you can see hundreds of miles. By their theology, by their own figures, the curvature of the earth would drop off where you couldn't see more than 10, 15 miles. But you can put a light and shine 100 miles out and still see that light in the dark. And no differently than not even at a high altitude, at a level altitude. So there is no curvature of the earth, it's a flat plane. If you were flying in an airplane, per se, if there was a curved earth, you would have to fly down constantly to keep from flying off the earth. But they fly flat. They get to a elevation, they level it out, they stay, they fly flat. Any pilot knows that. but they're trying to tell you stuff that isn't true. If you look at any road map, subway map, um, airplane grid, selling coordinate, selling grid, anything like that, it does not count for the curvature of the Earth. Anybody that has ever tried to put the curvature of the Earth in gets lost because there is no curvature of the Earth. It's flat. You do enough study on this, you know it's absolutely true. Hawa is the name of the only God, the Creator, Mother and Father. If you do enough study on it, it's absolutely proven true. You look up Blue Book Bible, I believe is the website. Actually takes the English from any kind of just about any Bible that you can write out. Takes it from English to Hebrew or Greek, which was originally written in. Whether it's verse, word, whatever. Look up Exodus 3:14, and it says, "I am that I am," which breaks down to Heya, or Hawa, because the Y makes a Wa sound. Asher Hawa. That much I do know. Which is the God, the creator of everything. Hawa. When you go into truth seeking, the two most important things is if you hear something new, then look for another source. Two witnesses. Two witnesses actually gives you a probability that it could be true. Doesn't mean it is true, but it gives you a probability it could be true. Then study, reference those sources and see where they come from and what truth there is in it. Dragons absolutely exist. Even in the Bible mentions dragons in all kinds of different forms. And yes, they did breathe fire. They, yes, some were probably dinosaurs. Some were flying dragons. The word dinosaur didn't come in existence till about 1850. So before then, everything that they seen that looked like that was a dragon. But not just land creatures, but there were sea creatures that live that match these descriptions of, like Leviathan. There were flying dragons, not just the Ziz, but which was actually a huge bird, but flying dragons. We have discovered it in archaeology. Just they left the wings out on a lot of them, and they actually have a entire field called dragonology. You can get a degree in this. And if they didn't exist, then why would they give you a degree in something that's mythological? It's legendary, not mythological. It's misuse of words. This evolution myth that they keep on trying to press as true is one of the biggest BS claims in history. But if you really study, you cannot prove evolution. You can prove creation to most degrees. When we did not come from primitive ancestors that became smarter, we came from very smart people that became dumb. I mean, if you believe anything that's in the Bible, you look at the story of Adam, and he named all the animals. Maybe there wasn't as many forms as there are now, but he named all the animals. Maybe probably not the names we use now, but he named them all. So he was a very intelligent person. They discovered metallurgy within the first three generations of mankind. And that's proven in the Descendants of Cain. They only tell you three generations. They tell you that they were heart makers and stuff like that. So they figured out and perfected metallurgy within the first three generations. It took us, modern man today, debatably several thousand years to figure out metallurgy. So we came from very smart people who became very dumb. And a lot of that also is there's been mass amounts of written language, written blueprints, everything has been destroyed. I mean, every time they have a war in all of history, they have mass book burnings, library burnings. I mean, this is undebatable. And then there's the fact that people suppress so much trying to keep you dumbed down. Because the ones who truly run the world know that there's so much power in actual truth. If you knew, if everybody knew Hawa was a god, and everybody worshipped him by that name, there would be so much power going in this world that the evil forces could not have mounted the way they have today. But they have done like a frog, and you can actually do this. Take a frog, put it in a frying pan on a burner, on a stove, and just gradually turn the heat up. I'm not talking about, every couple of seconds. I'm talking about, gradually turn the heat up just a fraction of every hour. And that frog will never notice the temperature. You get a frog to sit there that long, I guess it might be kind of hard, but he'll never notice the temperature rising. And he will literally sit there and let you boil him alive. He never noticed the temperature rising. That's what they've done to society. They've slowly raised the temperature on us. And we're at a boiling point right now. You see it in the immorality all around the country, all around the world. Aleister Crowley was one of the most atrocious people I've ever read about. I mean, and that's saying a lot because, we've read about some really atrocious people. But what he was actually trying to do was actually trying to open up a portal between this realm and the next through sexual rituals, magic rituals, and he knew all this stuff was actually intertwined. I mean, there's actually is truth to this. I wouldn't suggest messing around with it, but there is truth to this. And he said there wasn't enough iniquity in the world to open that portal. But he did make a prediction that after his death, eventually there'd be enough iniquity in the world to open up a portal between the dimensions and to let all these evil entities back in. That's what they're trying to do right now. Despite what they tell you, and I'm not sure how much I can tell you on all this because where they're doing this, because I had one video stricken because I just said something that was too true. But they're trying to open these portals. There's FBI documents saying that they've been talking to these creatures since the 40s and doing satanic rituals and stuff like that. And this is taking some things by word because I use a lot of other people's homework because it takes a lot, it saves a lot. But there is actual points. I mean, there is roots and everything. And generally, if you're using other people's homework, go check it out. I mean, you'll find out. Of course, Google, Wikipedia are the worst places to look up things, but you can find some interesting truths in there too. Um, there's all kinds of books and stuff you can find this stuff in. I mean, I'm 99% sure Jesus Christ never existed. If he did, he was an absolute Nephilim. Even Scripture says that he was not the son of God per se, but he was the son of Gabriel, and also represents a duo entity of one person with two genders, or what I believe is two separate entities as one mind, one voice, one thought. Our mother and father are two separate entities, but as one. And that's what it says in the law, that they are one. It's not talking about a father and son, it's talking about a mother and father. I mean, that's why like 6 of the commandments are actually directly involving them. But you got to figure out truth. Um, really, things you should look at is the original law, Levitical law is probably the number one thing you should figure out, study on. Um, if you want something interesting, Flat Earth is really interesting. Multiverse is really interesting. The Amazon, the stuff they've figured out in the Amazon here lately with lidar and stuff. The amount of technology and amount of civilizations that are out there. Um, the fact that there was an ice age two 300 years ago. I mean, it's a very interesting thing. I don't remember if I posted that on something or not. Technology is not one of my better things. I was out there living life until a couple of years ago. I wasn't actually simulating life on technology. And I spent a lot more time studying. I'm not here lately. I've been trying to help a friend out, but I spent a lot more time studying facts and trying to get religiously better, faith better, because the religion is practiced, faith is lived. Than or trying to figure out these different things than I do messing with the technology. I really don't care about technology. Um, I'm trying to find truth in a little bit of time, and the only reason I started this page was to try to help other people find truth. And I hope it helps somebody. I mean, I really do. Um, but find two witnesses on anything if you think it's a possibility, and then really study it down and figure out where it is. I mean, we got way too many people just taking somebody else's word for something and say, "Oh, okay, that's true. Okay, that's the way it is." It's like not knowing where your sources come from. Like this man that every morning he's seen this mill worker stop at the clock in front of his store and set his watch. One day he was out there in front of his store, and he asked me, he's like, "How come you stop and check your watch every day off this clock at my store?" And the man says, "Well, I'm the foreman down here at this mill, and I set my watch off that clock, so I know when to ring the 5 o'clock whistle to end the day." And the man that owns the store says, "That's how I set the clock, is off that whistle." So they could have both been 6 hours off, but they didn't know what they were setting their stuff off of, something that they never knew where it was coming, where the source was coming from. You know, if you don't know where your source is coming from, you get a completely skewed view. And most of your mainstream scientists and stuff like that are giving you a very skewed view of everything. And the way I'm doing this, I'm about to run. Only got a couple more minutes, so I'm trying to slow this down. And figure out truth, pray on it, study on it, break it down to the basics. There's tons of literature out there. Books are great. There's all kinds of books online too. PDF files. You can read for years and just hit the top of the iceberg on this stuff. Um, all mythical creatures were real. It's just to what degree. And most of them probably actually are real. They just hadn't figured out. They haven't found them. They're not in this. Maybe not even in this dimension anymore. But they are real. Um, I hope this. Listen to this. I hope it blesses you. Keep studying. Keep praying. I will get back, but it may not be soon. Um, as always, Allah Hawa, and may you be blessed.